Welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Tuesday, November 30th. I'm your host for today's program, Paul DeMain. Many of the stories read here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com. So here are some of the news stories from the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. Eloise Cobell, lead plaintiff in the 15-year-old class action lawsuit over the federal government's mismanagement of its Indian trust, hailed today's House vote as a landmark milestone on the road to justice for Native people. Quote, "This is truly a historic day in Indian country as well as in Americans' history," unquote, said Ms. Cobell, a member of the Blackfeet Nation. By Congress placing a seal of approval on this settlement, a monumental step has been taken to remove a stain on our national honor and create a better future for Indians as our government begins to make some amends to grave past injustices, she said. The House action completes the long-delayed legislative phase of the settlement of Cobell et al. Versus Salazar et al. And sends the bill to President Barack Obama for his anticipated signature. Following that action, the case will return to a court for a hearing before D.C. District Court Judge Thomas Hogan in accordance with federal court rules to confirm the fairness of the settlement, determine appropriate attorney fees, and to establish distribution of funds to the class members. And you can get more information online at CobellSettlement.com. The American Indian movement grabbed headlines and international attention in the early 1970s when the group occupied the South Dakota reservation town of Wounded Knee. Those days are long past. AIM has since faded from public view, though some of its offshoot groups still operate. The upcoming trial of a former AIM member in the late 1975 murder of Anime Pictou Aquash, who left her two young daughters to join AIM at Wounded Knee, will likely revisit AIM's past and the actions of its former leaders. Prosecutors say AIM leaders ordered Aquash's death because she was suspected of being a government informant at a time when FBI agents and AIM members routinely exchanged gunfire. John Graham, an AIM member and a Canadian accused of shooting Aquash, is standing trial this week as soon as jury selection is completed. In the years since her death, one AIM leader, Russell Means, has pointed fingers and blamed another, Vernon Bellecourt, for issuing that order. Bellecourt denied the claim before his passing in the year 2008. Aquash, a native of the Micmac community of Nova Scotia, took part in Wounded Knee and remained active within the group afterwards. But rumors began to circulate that Aquash might be a government informant. Witnesses have testified. She was killed in late 1975, 2 years after Wounded Knee uprising, and a rancher found her body in February of 1976. AIM splintered in the 1980s due to infighting between Means and other AIM leaders, according to Northern Arizona University professor John Rayhoner. Vernon Bellecourt and his brother Clyde led one faction, the American Indian Movement Grand Governing Council, and Means the other, the Confederated chapters of the American Indian Movement out of Colorado. The Grand Governing Council did not return a phone message from the Associated Press, and Clyde Bellecourt did not respond to questions in a brief phone conversation. A phone number listed on Colorado AIM's website was disconnected. Tim Gallego of Pine Ridge, Lakota, said, "They're pretty well an afterthought by now. Others have been there all these years since AIM left the reservation, doing the job that AIM was supposed to do." Language, Tepizwin Young will tell you, has the power to heal broken cultures, especially on South Dakota's 9 reservations where poverty, alcoholism, and violence continue to shatter many lives and homes. Young is convinced that the Lakota language can be their salvation. Officials at the University of South Dakota in Vermilion and Sitting Bull College at Fort Yates see those possibilities too. That's why they are developing bachelor's degree programs to train teachers of Lakota as a second language. The two schools have been awarded a 4-year, $2.4 million grant by the Department of Education to institute the programs beginning next year, and within the initial 4 years to educate 30 new Lakota language teachers. The grant also will allow 16 Native American students at USD and 14 at Sitting Bull College to receive $2,000 a month for 2 years to pay their tuition fees and other living expenses. Nearly 50 people braved the cold temperatures as the Cherokee Nation and Tahlequah City Hospital broke ground today on a new dialysis center in Salazar, Oklahoma. The Renal and Hypertension Institute of Northeast Oklahoma is a partnership effort between the Cherokee Nation and the Tahlequah Hospital Foundation and will sit adjacent to the tribe's Redbird Smith Health Center. Through the vision of both the Cherokee Nation and Tahlequah City Hospital, we are able to offer quality care and improve services to those needing these types of services, said Chad Smith, the principal chief of the Cherokee Nation there. The new center will provide much-needed dialysis procedures to many living in a multi-county area, eliminating the need for individuals and their families to travel far distances to larger cities. The U.S. government is suing the Oglala Sioux tribe to recover $482,000 in federal grant monies given to the tribe from 1999 to 2002. The complaint in federal court says the tribe received $4.7 million from the Department of Health and Human Services in 2 grants. The government said audits found instances of non-compliance with terms of the grants, but the tribe has not appealed the audit results or returned the money. The amount being sought in court represents principal and interest. Tribal listening sessions on suicide prevention are to continue through February 2011. The Joint Indian Affairs, Indian Health Service, and Substance Abuse and Mental Health Care Service Administration listening sessions for tribes on suicide prevention that began earlier this month will continue through December and into February 2011. The sessions seek input from tribal leaders on how the agencies can effectively work with their communities to prevent suicide and will lead up to a national conference on the topic early next year. Remaining sessions from 1 to 5 p.m. include Rapid City, South Dakota on Thursday, December 2nd at the Best Western Ramkota Hotel and Convention Center, Oklahoma City on Monday, December 13th at the Embassy Suites Meridian, 815 South Meridian Street, Sacramento, California on Tuesday, December 21st at the Federal Building at Cottage Conference Room, 2800 Cottage Way, Albuquerque, New Mexico on Monday, January 10th at the National Indian Programs Training Center at 1011 Indian School Road, the Portland, Oregon at the Bureau of Indian Affairs Northwest Regional Offices, 911 Federal Building at the Auditorium at 911 Northeast 11th Avenue, and finally the Arlington, Virginia session on Thursday, February 10th, 2011 at the United South and Eastern Tribes Conference, Marriott Crystal Gateway, 1700 Jefferson Davis Highway. For more information on that, you can go to indianaffairs.gov. A New Mexico museum has discovered that what it believes is an unpublished photograph of a 19th century Navajo war chief that sat in its archives for nearly 50 years. The photograph of Chief Manuelito is housed at the New Mexico History Museum in Santa Fe. Its existence was unknown until earlier this year while employees were undergoing the first major inventory of hundreds of thousands of archived images. Archivist Daniel Korsherek recognized the man in the photos as Manuelito, distinguished by his height and facial features. An envelope holding the glass plate negatives confirmed the identity. The photograph is featured on the cover of the winter edition of a New Mexico-based magazine about art, history, and culture of the Southwest, El Palacio. The publication goes out and is distributed beginning December 1st. And a reminder that starting on Friday, December 3rd, we'll be in Rapid City, South Dakota to do some live reports from the trial of John Graham and the murder of Anime Pictuaquash, and we'll see you there. And that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country. On this edition of the Native News Update, we want to thank you all for joining in with us today and come back very, very soon.